It's People Are Talking with Gary Penacoli.
Thank you very much and good morning. Welcome to People Are Talking. What I have in my hands, shackles and a whip. These are just a few of the devices that some men like to experiment with during sexual play. Today, we're going to be talking with some of the men and women who take part in this bizarre world of sexual dominance and submission. Please take note. This show is for adults this morning. Viewer discretion is advised. My first guest is Kellie Everts, who quite simply dominates men for a living. Please help me welcome her. Hello, Kellie. Have a seat. Let me just mic you up here. Bill, can I have some help here?
Didn't we rehearse this enough times, Harry?
We didn't rehearse this at all, Kellie. How about right here? Okay, we'll put it right there. Is that comfortable for you?
Great, great.
Okay.
I think my skirt is too short. That's by accident. I didn't mean it to be this short.
Yeah, sure,
Really?
Kellie. Oh, no. Okay, enough about the jokes here. We got to get serious about this.
We do?
Well, you tell me, do we? How serious is this for you, Kellie?
Well, it has many facets. There's the fun part, then there's the serious part. The fun part is when I get to torture the men. The serious part is when I talk about female supremacy and women's civil liberties and all that. That's serious.
All right,
I believe on all levels.
Let's talk about the fun part first, at least what you're calling the fun part. You dominate men for a living. What exactly do you do?
Okay, well, I run a mail order business, and I produce videos and photos which turn on masochists and submissive men. Once in a while, I do sessions, which means that I do face-to-face encounters, but it's only with my friends. I don't do that for a living. What I do for a living are the videos.
Okay, well, when you have these encounters, I mean, can you tell us?
I'd rather tell you about the videos. Oh, they're much more fun.
Okay, but before you get to the videos, what do you do in your sessions? And I'm sure what you do in your sessions is what we see in the videos, correct?
This is not for children.
I understand.
Okay,
And
men want a woman to urinate and defecate on them.
They want you to do that to them?
Yes. They're called toilet slaves.
Oh God.
Well, I haven't done the number 2 yet, but the number 1 comes easy. I find that to be a lot of fun. I don't think it's disgusting. You got to get used to it, though.
Fun?
Oh yeah. Did you ever try it?
No.
Oh, it is fun. Okay, another thing. Let's see. What else is fun? Well, tying them up and threatening them is fun. I love to humiliate them, and they want it. You know, so if they want, I'll give it to them, and I'm very good at it. I found out that I am a very good sadist.
How did you get into this? How did you start in this,
I was
business of dominance?
I was hired as an actress for video, and in the video I had to dominate a guy. And since I'm sort of anti-sex, I'm celibate, you know, so...
You're anti-sex?
Well, not totally, but for myself, you know, I don't have sex.
Okay.
So when they told me that they wanted me to do this video dominating a man, and I said, oh, this is one hell... Oh, you can't say bad words, huh? One heck of a good way to make a living, and you don't have to have sex. All you have to do is make the guy suck your feet and your toes. You have to spank him, humiliate him, sit on him.
And men come to you and
this is easy money.
They pay you.
They pay you $500 for that.
$500?
Yeah, this is easy money. This is easy money. And you don't have to degrade yourself. You can do it to him. You know, call him names, tell him all the things you ever wanted to say to a man, but you never could say it. You get to say it to these guys, and it's such a wonderful feeling. It's a release. Because you got all that pent-up hostility, just comes pouring out.
But how much of this is an act, and how much of this is just to make the money?
It first started out as an act, but then I was so good at it that the producer said, you have so much anger in you and so much emotion that it must be real. It can't be acting. And so I stuck with it. I was so good at it, I kept producing more and more things along the same line.
Okay, what's your philosophy? You started to get into it a little bit at the beginning of the show. You say, in fact, here, she prints this, what I believe, pamphlet here. I believe that the female is the superior sex, that she is the common ancestor of all mankind, that God made woman first and gave birth to the first male by the reproductive power of her body and brain. I believe that woman alone is equipped to lead the family, the country, the world.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the day when women will take over everything. Religion, government, the airwaves, everything.
Whatever happened to equality?
I don't believe in equality. Woman has to dominate. Woman is supreme.
Why?
The woman has 2 X chromosomes. A man has an X and a Y. An X chromosome is superior. It's 5 times bigger and more in volume and in capacity, and chromosomes and everything are in the X chromosome.
So that makes,
woman is biologically superior to a man.
So that
means her
better.
brain is superior. She should do the thinking. When a man does the thinking, we have wars.
Wait a minute. Are you sure you're just not saying all this to hype people up and to get women to, rah, woman?
No, I'm very, very serious about this. In fact, I'm starting a group called Women's Civil Liberties Group. I'm getting lawyers together and all that. So it's a many-fold thing. It's an emotional thing. It's a business thing. And it's something I believe in also.
All right, I want to find out about some of these things that you have here. I mean, this is what I held up at the beginning of the show. This, frankly, is very scary.
Oh.
No, wait a minute.
Yeah, there's nothing to it.
To use this in a behind closed doors on a person is frightening. It's frightening.
Well, you're not used to it.
Well, what do you do? What do you do
Well,
with
you just put his feet in those and you chain him to something, whatever is available. I usually use my bench press because I lift weights. So I usually chain him to my bench press.
Oh, this is a tough
my
rod,
bench.
I'll tell you.
You bet, baby. Hard Woman. I'm also producing my own magazine called Hard Woman in about 2 months. Hard in many ways.
Yeah, well, we'll leave it at that. Now, what are we having, a barbecue here today?
See? Don't worry, housewives. If you don't have all the equipment I have, just use the same, handy stuff you got in the kitchen. This is for hot dogs. Anything that fits in here.
Oh, God, Kelly.
Comes in handy.
Don't you? I mean, did you hurt these men that come in?
Yes,
Do they want to be
I have hurt some men. I mean, in one video, I was hired. I was paid $500 plus I got a copy to sell, so it was worth $10,000. This guy who is a real judge, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. He told me not to. Oh, well, forget it. He said, I want to be beaten up by a woman with big breasts, and she has to smoke a cigar. So from that day on, I started smoking the cigar every time. He says, beat me to a pulp. Jeez. And I said, how hard can I hit you? You mean just playing around? He says, no, I mean hard. He says, try this. And I said, like this? He says, no, harder. Said, like this? Yes, like that.
And he wanted this?
Yeah, 20 minutes I pummeled him. Oh, and you know what? I felt so good. You don't know how good it feels. All right, now I know why men are always beating up women.
All right,
it feels good.
I want to find out from a man why it is that they want this done. We have a caller on the line right now. His name is Harry. Good morning. You're on People Are Talking, Harry. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Yeah. Now, Harry, you have been to a professional dominatrix?
Well, I've only been to a professional once in my life, but I've been able to integrate female superiority into several relationships I've had with women.
Okay, why is it that you want to be submissive to women, or do you?
Well, first of all, I believe that women are superior.
Why? Why, Harry?
Why do I believe that? Because it's true.
Because I told him.
Everything Kelly tells me to do, I do. I am her slave.
So have you been to Kelly?
I'm Kelly's friend. And, we have a friendship that involves female superiority, and I do not pay Kelly money to do it. It's totally a personal
Pays me in
matter.
services.
What kind of services?
Errands. Chauffeur.
So he works for you?
Yeah. And
I'm
the
her
only thing
slave.
I've let him do so far is kiss my feet, and he was sneaky. He tried to put his tongue between my toes, so I got him for that.
Now wait a minute. You say Harry, that you're her slave?
Yes.
What does that entail? What do you?
I'm the goddess. He's the groveling worm under my feet.
All right, I want to hear from him. Let him talk, will you?
Well,
Hurry up, Harry.
I always agree with Kelly, but I think what it entails is a willingness on my part to let Kelly have a lot of power, and on my part to have very little power in either specific situations or in an ongoing context.
Why don't you want to have control over that part of your life?
Because it's incredibly pleasurable for me to give up control to my girlfriend, and I like very strong women who can control me. And I think that the male chauvinist society, which discriminates against women who want to be strong and self-confident and men who like such women, is wrong. There's nothing wrong with a woman being the dominant person, and that's what I like. So you know. Do
you let her whip you? Do you let your girlfriend whip you?
That's.
If I wanted to.
If she was really into it, but it doesn't come up because that's not, that's not part of the assumption of the relationship.
All right, Harry, are you involved in a relationship with a woman?
Right now?
Yes.
No, I'm not currently.
Okay. This is so bizarre.
You're just not used to it. Give me a little time.
Okay, you can. Watch yourself, Kelly. Watch yourself.
What are you scared?
Watch yourself. Watch yourself. We're going to take a break right here. Next on People Are Talking, a love story between a dominatrix and her slave as we continue with this incredible show. We'll be right back. Boy, what would your students think of you now, Mystique, huh?
Oh, I wish some of them could see me.
You know what amazes me, Jerry, is how afraid men are of this.
Why are
men
they
are supposed to be the tough, macho, dominating sex. Why are they scared of women?
Well, when women dressed like you are, I mean, you are a little, yeah, see what happens to you? No, it's a little overwhelming, if I may say so. It is.
I know, but we're talking about the dominant woman. They're so afraid of pain. Here are these macho men that say they're so tough, they're so strong. As soon as you talk to them about tying them up and giving them a little spanking, they're so scared.
Well, I think that's normal.
Yeah, but to be that timid, I'm amazed by how timid men are. Amazed.
The feeling of helplessness is divided. Some people want to have this experience, if only for 1 hour. Other people are terrified of the giving up of this macho power. And you have the dichotomy here. Some people feel both sides, and then they're going back and forth, back and forth. And this is where a mistress will train a slave and bring him in to that side of his personality so that he can fully experience it. Okay. And it has a rebound reaction in life because once you find that outlet, there's a springboard reaction in the rest of life.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to try to make some sense out of all of this. We're going to bring on sex therapist Karen Komisky. She's going to talk about domination in a healthy, loving relationship, if you can believe that. We'll be right back with more People Are Talking right after this. And welcome back, People Are Talking. We're talking about the darker side of sex this morning, domination. Right now, we're going to take a call from a freelance artist. His name is John, who fantasizes about being dominated by fat women. John, are you there? Good morning.
Yes, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about your fascination with dominance?
I've always been attracted to very heavy women.
Okay.
And I really have lots of domination fantasies, about being, like, crushed by them and stuff like that.
Okay, have you ever lived out your fantasies, John?
Yes, I have.
How so?
Well, a lot of the women that I've dated have been into sex play, and fantasy play, and they've acted these things out with me. And they've also been, of the right build to be able to do it.
So you like to have these women sit on you?
Sure, yeah, all that stuff.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
That's something you would have to experience firsthand. That's like asking why I would like the flavor of a certain kind of food.
Well, if you can just describe to us what turns you on about that. Why do you like that?
I guess it's the feeling of, it's really hard to say, but I guess it really goes back to, I guess, infancy, you know, when the mother looks so huge by comparison. And I really feel that having a big woman on top of me is just that almost a nurturing feeling of being smothered in flesh.
Do you like to, it's a personal question, but hey.
Ask him what weight he likes them.
What weight? Well, that's
weight?
not really relevant, is it? I mean, fat is fat,
Sure,
isn't
he
it?
wants at least 200 pounds, I think.
Well, John?
Yes?
Do you like being spanked, too? I mean, does that go back to your infancy, too, when your mom spanked you?
No, I don't really go in for any of that kind of thing. My stuff is really more about, you know, being controlled rather than being hit or anything like that.
Why is that control by a woman so important to you in that way? It just seems so bizarre.
Well, for one thing, I am able to live without it. You know, I don't have to act it out in bed. But even if I didn't, I would still have fantasies about it in my head.
Okay, John. Thank you very much for sharing that with us today. We have another guest to introduce to you right now. With me now to discuss domination in a loving relationship is family and sex therapist Karen Komisky. Give her a hand, please. Karen, help me out here this morning. Is any of this normal?
Well, as was discussed early, we're not sure what normal is. I prefer to think that there's a very wide range of human experience when it comes to sexuality. But you know, Jerry, I think
being sat on by fat women, being whipped.
Human beings are really looking, I think, for some kind of balance and looking for some kind of wholeness. I do a lot of work with sexual health. And the experiences we've been hearing about this morning, I think, are shocking to the average person.
Yeah, I'd say.
But what is, I think, to kind of generalize this or broaden it so that it does apply to large numbers of people, is the experience that human beings are looking for some kind of a personal sense of power and personal sense of satisfaction. And I have come to believe that the best sexual relationships are relationships between equals, not where either partner is dominant. Of course, the danger with domination is that person's going to want to come back and dominate you. But I think if people can give and take, if they can learn to receive...
But it's hard to find the man that is equal to a woman.
I don't agree. To be able to experience surrender, you know, as you talked about ecstasy, I think that's a very enlightening kind of an experience. But my own opinion is that human beings need to express the full range of their masculinity and femininity. Women have both sides as well as men do.
Why are you saying she's wrong, Honesty?
All right. I kind of lost the point. I like what you say about balance. Where you're wrong is that you're comparing straight, normal activities to deviations. And you can't. They're like this. They do not compare. What is here one way is here the other way. It's paradoxical, and the complete opposite point of view is totally entertained, and there is no danger of the person turning around on you when they're truly involved in the scene.
But let's find out. Is there any danger to having men tied up and humiliated?
A straight man, maybe.
I'd rather broaden it to something like who's on top. Take a typical heterosexual relationship. Even issues like when do we have sex and where do we have sex and who's on top and who controls what's done when. Those are power and domination issues. But in a healthy couple, I think those things get played out in a way that's mutually satisfying. And yes, at one time one person might be dominant. At another time the other might be dominant.
Do healthy
We're
couples...
quite healthy.
We're very healthy and very happy.
I think it's misuse of terms.
No,
I won't put up with it.
No, we have a very normal.
So you're feeling that
day-to-day
she's assuming that you're not normal. Is that?
Yeah, I don't like that.
No.
A deviation is not the norm. Absolutely correct. It's not wrong as long as it's within the framework of healthy relationships. Do we look unhealthy?
No,
Do I look like
to
some
judge
insidious junkie sitting up in a loft?
Well, you don't look unhealthy, but you don't look quite typical.
All right, that's different. That's fine. If you have to accept something different, you don't knock it till you know what it is.
You know what the thing is? They have a commitment. Once these people have a commitment, things become less extreme. The men that want the most extreme fantasies are the men that don't have a dominant woman in a commitment, and they think about this night and day until they want an explosion. And that's why they want the most way out, kinky, perverted, bizarre things, because it's an explosion of need.
Okay, I want to find out if normal, whatever you can call normal, healthy relationships, if the people within those relationships have that fantasy for what we're talking about. To think about that when we take this break. We'll be right back with more people talking right after this. I want to know, is any of this need to be dominated by women tied to the guilt, perhaps, that men have felt by the way they have treated women all their lives?
That's one of the common theories about why someone would seek out an experience of being dominated. There are other theories that John on the phone played out. Something from his childhood makes him want to re-experience that kind of physical relationship to a woman. It harkens back to something in his past. Lots of theories. My own is that human beings want a balance. If someone is dominant, very dominant, say a judge or someone who makes decisions about the lives of others on a day-to-day basis, that person wants to experience an opposite or a balancing side of his own personality.
Do you think that this act of dominance is a typical fantasy amongst everyday folks?
I think that people, in my experience, like to play out different parts of their personalities. And the bedroom's a safe place, usually, to play that out, okay? People want excitement and they want safety. There again, you have a balance.
Tell me the truth here, audience. Has anybody ever fantasized about this?
No.
No? Okay, all right. Let me ask a few guys. Would you ever like to be dominated like this by a woman? Stand up.
Never. No way.
Why not?
Well, I would start with a biblical foundation that I think sex only belongs with marriage. And from there, I think God sets up a clear pattern in the Bible that the man is the dominant part of the marriage.
Kelly, how do you respond to that? Wait a minute, I have to say that Kelly...
I say it's time to bring back the goddess religion. I'm tired of this Judeo-Christian ethic. Jesus is Lord.
Now, Kelly, you at one time were
See, this whole Bible thing has been used against women for 2,000 years to hold women in their place. And this whole Bible ethic is in the law, and the law makes women submit. The law rapes women.
Wait a second. Before you got into this dominance business, weren't you a stripper for God?
Yes, I was.
All right, what did you do as a stripper for God?
Well, yeah, I have followed the path of Jesus, and I follow Jesus in my own way, and I carry the cross, and I preached. I gave 1,000 sermons in burlesque theaters and nightclubs. But after I really studied and studied for years and years, I learned that the men interpreted God's word according to their own desires. Their desire to dominate women.
All right, wait, we're having... Go ahead. You're saying that's right? That's right.
Right. See, I lived in Iran, and I know how the religious people are.
Now you know what they do to women there.
You're nothing.
That's
You're
right.
low.
You're just
so
a slave.
I was like the most religious person you could ever be.
You know, you look like you get into some pretty interesting things yourself here with this.
I'm a dancer.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
what do you think of all this?
I think it's great. Everybody should have their own opinion and do what you want to do.
And which is what we have on the show here. We have a lot of people with differing opinions.
Right.
And that's okay.
Being a dancer, I come across this all the time. I see men asking me to beat them because the way I'm dressed, I wear G-strings and all the studs and all. And one guy actually got up on stage and begged me to beat him, so I did. And it felt great.
Yeah, that's right.
He loved it.
What are you saying? He's sick? Who said he's sick?
I said he's sick
Why?
because, hallelujah. One thing I want to talk about her, that she said woman was born first. No, man was first. Some men
But biologically and medically,
women
they have
are not
proven,
supposed to be
they have
slaves.
proven that woman is
Women are not
biologically
supposed to be
superior.
slaves.
Woman has
They
sex
have-
chromosomes.
One at a
They
time.
supposed to be submissive. Men are not
That's what the
supposed to
Bible
be
says.
so wise.
Men wrote the Bible.
They supposed
Moses,
to love
one
that
man.
woman like they love themselves. See, one thing, if men like that, they are sick because they are on the principalities of this air. You say you preaching of the devil, honey.
No, I
have to
preach
tell
the
you,
way of
Kelly,
Jesus Christ.
Kelly,
No, I have Christ inside of me.
God
Christ
created
lives in
men.
me.
All right.
It's men.
God
Men have
created men.
perverted the Bible. Men have used the Bible
And
to
just like
dominate
this brother
women,
said
to
over
hurt
here,
women.
All right.
a woman's supposed to be submissive. We're not supposed to be.
No.
Do you want to be
No way. Woman is the leader.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Yo.
No way.
Everybody quiet.
Why come every time something happens, every time something happens, people always put the
Wait a
Lord
second.
in this, the Lord in that? How come you always got to put God in here? You are up here with the Bible of talking about God. We didn't come here to talk about God. We came here to talk about what they're up there on the stage talking about.
Okay, John, sit down now. What are your feelings on this? One at a time. What are your feelings on this?
My feelings are, do Do what you want to do. If this is what make them happy, then let them do it.
Yeah.
Every time, you know what I'm sick and tired of? Every time you turn around, I don't care where you go, what you do, here come God. You know what I mean? Let him rest.
Okay.
I think
All right, let me speak.
And this is not the place for God.
Okay.
Take your Bible somewhere else.
Okay, we got the point. La Mystique.
All right, I want to say that in answer to them, I don't think there's anyone who couldn't help believing in Jesus Christ and the Lord God, Father Almighty, okay? Now, he made everything from dirt to angels, okay? And I'll take anywhere on the level of the hierarchy of God that I belong, okay? Now, inside of every one of us is a great deal of love that exists. And when you're in love with someone, you yield, and that yielding is such a wonderful experience. Some people
But
don't.
I'm tired of
Wait a
yielding.
minute.
What
Wait,
are
now,
you
you wait a
yielding?
minute. You wait a minute. Wait. When you're yielding, and this urge is God flowing in you, and a lot of people don't get enough of this. They can't get it out, and they need to torture themselves to get out of it. There were flagellation parades in the Middle Ages. In Iran, they believe in the great Almighty, and they get out there and beat their backs bloody.
But what do you say to folks?
Wait a minute. You can go to any extreme, any level that's right for you. And as a religionist, and you have your buttoned-up collar, and she has a low collar, you have to accept the world on all levels, honey. Live where you're at, but may I suggest you try it?
Okay. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back with more. People are talking right after this. Come right back. Welcome back to People Are Talking. People are getting really heated up here, and I say to you, look out, I got a whip now if anybody gets out of hand. Yeah, we have some more questions. Okay, yes. Stand up, please, yes.
That's right.
Stand up.
I was here in 7-8 for her. She was stripping.
Stripping for God, okay.
I was here.
What do you want to say to her?
What I want to say, I think I mind them for making money, but I think you use it in a negative way. I think you can use it in a positive way. You're using the sick-minded people that need a psychiatrist.
Don't be a judge.
Excuse
God
me.
didn't tell you to judge.
That's my
Judge
opinion.
not, let
Dress
me
up
be
and look
judge.
like a woman. I think I
do look like a woman.
And I don't show
You
my
think
butt.
you look better than me?
And you know, Dolly Parton, she has a large bust and she sings. You can be something in God and be something in society without showing everything. And he's a weak man
You think that
wants
the body
somebody
is
to
evil?
dominate him.
My body's not
I
evil.
think you should stand on your 2 feet.
I'm a nudist.
I'm a strong woman, but I need a
I'm a
strong
nudist.
man to walk by my side. And I don't take advantage of people just because I can.
All right. All right, Gene, what do you say to people that call you a weak
All
man?
right. 99% of the time, I'm responsible for your life. In many ways, financially speaking. All right? I have a career that is very aggressive, very hard-hitting. I have a lot of responsibility on a day-to-day basis. We live a very normal day-to-day relationship just like you and your husband do. But every once in a while, we like to play a little bit of fun, a little bit of kinky games, where for an hour or two, I give up all that responsibility and take a vacation from being the one that has to make command decisions.
So, Gene, what you're saying is who's to say what you do behind closed doors? That's
Well,
your
not
business.
only what you do
There's a
behind closed
reason,
doors,
and
but it's
may
a
I correct this
great
lady?
psychological relief.
May I correct this lady? Would you listen to me? Would
Yes,
you
I
give me
will.
space to talk?
Thank you.
All right. It takes more strength to be submissive than it does to be dominant.
How so?
You have to put up with more. You have to be more cunning to get your way as a submissive than a dominant who can come in and command it.
But you're a school teacher. You have knowledge. Use it.
What?
Positive.
What?
You don't have to.
What did you say?
You have knowledge, education, and you
What
don't have
does
to
he
use
have?
just your body. You can use your brain.
I'm using everything I have.
But you don't have to use it for that.
What?
You don't have to use it for those men that need
See, you're
someone.
talking about
That's
what's
my opinion.
normal.
You asked me to give my
Wait a
opinion.
minute. I think you're being a little hard on this, and you're going a little fast. I want to take it point by point by point, all right? A submissive doesn't mean that they're weak. A weak person is truly a detestable thing.
But
a submissive personality is a yielding nature.
You get money for it. Excuse me.
What?
You get money for your services.
What's wrong with that? What do you do for money? How are you going to live? How do you live?
I'm talking to you. You asked me a
All right,
question.
that doesn't mean I'm a prostitute
Well,
or
I'm
anything
a
like that.
nurse, and I'm also an ordained minister. And I tell you one thing, I've had opportunity to do some of those things you all do, but I got strict enough in myself and
All right,
in
it's
God.
not part of your bent as a minister to do that. That's
I'm giving
fine.
my
But
opinion.
as a minister, you
Everybody
have
be
to...
like, yo, what kind of society? Who's gonna
Instead
be?
of, as a minister, don't condemn. Look at it and see.
How you know?
Use understanding.
We can give our opinion.
As a minister, you should be understanding.
That's why I am.
You're condemning. You're standing right up there and said, he's a weak man. You're a weak woman if you have to be that strong-minded that you don't dare. You don't dare think more than you want to think right now. You're afraid to go further.
There are sick preachers and there are sick males and people that do what you do. I don't care what position they're in.
If I remember you correctly, you condemned me.
That's my opinion.
If I remember correctly, you condemned me when I was a stripper.
No, I gave my opinion.
Okay, we have more people that want to... All right, we have more people that want to make comments. All right, okay. Go ahead. All right, we have more people that want to make some comments. Go ahead.
I think as a minister, she's dressed pretty loud.
Out of this for a minute. I'm gonna
You know, I like what you dressed, but as a minister, you know.
Would you please be quiet? Thank you. Okay.
Okay, we're talking about people that want to give up control, people that are in, and like this gentleman was talking about, situations where they have they have a lot of control. Okay, now they want to give it up. Okay, this is an emotional thing that we're dealing with, not a religious, nothing religious. And we don't have to call people names. We don't have to judge them because they want to do it or they don't want to. When we get this out of the way, we'll be able to get to the point we're trying to get to.
All right. Okay. Yes.
She's right, except religion does enter into
The Bible says
Oh,
that he who was without sin cast the first stone.
yeah.
There's nobody in here who can say anything. I have done things that I,
Yeah.
you know. Number one, I have a question for Kelly.
Yeah.
Wherever did you get those shoes?
See? Everybody asks me, and I've had them for 10 years. I don't remember. I only wear them on occasions like this. They're like 6 inches. I can be as tall.
Are you as tall as
I
me?
can be
Let's see here.
Look at this, almost.
Okay, yeah, okay. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more people who are talking right after this.